Hello, my friends on YouTube and the internet. I am coming to you today with a proverb of the day. I'm starting this in the new year here in 2024. Whenever you're watching this, I hope this will help you. I basically just want to take the day of the year or the month and jump into a proverb from that chapter. So today we're going to be in chapter 5, Proverbs chapter 5. I'm doing this January 5th. And we're going to look at verse 21. So I'm going to show you live and in person how I kind of discover these things and how I walk through the scriptures. Hopefully, you'll get some value out of it. Maybe you'll see a way to study the Bible or check it out for yourself. So, this is the proverb I have here today. It's from chapter 5. Chapter 5 is, we'll get into the context in a second, but it says, "For a man's ways are before the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all his paths." I think this is fascinating. It says, "A man's ways are before the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all his paths." Now, the context here is adultery and promiscuous, lucidity. Is that the word? I don't know. Trying to say a word that I don't know how to say, apparently. Anyway, sleeping around, things like that. But this principle embedded directly in the middle here, and man's ways are before the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all his paths. That's a fascinating statement to me. That jumped out to me today. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Bible Hub. I'm going to show you how to do this. You go to BibleHub.com. I'm going to look at the language there, the Hebrew. Type in Proverbs 5:21. And the first thing it's going to do is show you different translations. "For your ways are in full view of the Lord, and he examines all your paths. The Lord sees clearly what a man does, examining every path he takes." I read the ESV, King James, all down here. Now, here's what's cool. If you go to the interlinear, you can see this is a word for word, syntax for syntax thing here. So we know that the verse is this: "The man's ways are before the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all his paths." But if you go to an interlinear, you can actually go through and look at all the different Hebrew words, because I don't speak Hebrew, and the Bible wasn't originally written in English. It was, the Old Testament was written in Hebrew. So cool thing you can do when you get here to Bible Hub is you see the number and the transliteration, the actual text, and then the English, and then the tense and all that stuff, the type, parts of speech, all those things. But what I really want to show you is the number here, because you click on the number, and this is the word for he ponders. Remember, what's the verse? "A man's ways are before the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all his paths." So this is the Hebrew word ponder. So he ponders his paths, and all of man, the ways of Yahweh, the eyes are before. That's the Yoda speak version. That's word for word. You want a word for word translation of the Bible? Go to an interlinear Bible. Here it is. "He ponders his paths, and all of man, the ways of Yahweh, the eyes are before." Sounds like Yoda. But the use for this is you click the number, this Strong's Concordance number, and it's this Hebrew word paulas. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it means to weigh or to make level. He's weighing or making level. He's leveling out, saying, what are the ways of man? And then right here, I'll give you some other resources. Brown, Driver, Briggs is different types of dictionaries of the Bible, shows you different ways it's used, different places it's used. Over here is all the different uses of it, which is pretty cool. So to weighing out, it's an old English way to say it, I guess, to make level or smooth, right? So in this, it's because of the context, the man's ways are before the eyes of the Lord. He sees it and he ponders all his ways. He's weighing them, saying, how much, what is in there? Like you weigh like gold or silver, but it's used in these ways to make, ponder, or weigh. That's the definition. It means to roll flat, to prepare a road, also to resolve or to weigh mentally, to ponder or weigh. I think that's fascinating that the Lord, all of our ways are before the eyes of God, and he weighs them. So can you see the Lord just taking little weights and trying to see what's in here, what's in there? He's looking at the balance, right? Over here, we can see some other instances of the word. On earth, you weigh out the violence. He leveled a path for his anger. Ponder the path of thy feet, Proverbs 4. She does not ponder, right? These are different uses of that same word. Isaiah 26, make the path. Don't weigh the path. Make. There's different uses of it. So anyway, that's just one word. So pretty interesting to look at it. Not just He doesn't just think about it. He's weighing them out. He's looking at what the measurement is, what the effect is, the the impact it'll have. That's what makes me think of, like, if I'm weighing something, pondering something, I'm looking at how much of the weight. And what is he weighing? The paths, his paths. So here he is. He ponders the paths, the tracks. It's an entrenchment. Malgal. I can't speak Hebrew, but it's a track. It's figurative for snares of the wicked. It's a wayside. So this is a track or a rampart, a circular path, a trench. So he is weighing, pondering the path, the tracks that we walk in. Think of it this way, that he is weighing and pondering where we walk. So he's looking at the impact. Here's where I believe if you start to chew on this, I'm chewing on this in front of you right now. This is a live stream that I'm doing whenever you're watching this. I didn't prepare any notes. I'm just looking at the original language and see what it says to me. So more than he just ponders all our paths, he is weighing the track that we walk on. The path is where we step. So what is the impact going to be of where we are, right? What are we carrying and what are we stepping in? Where we step matters. What we're stepping in is going to change we're going to change the environment around us as we step. So he's weighing it out. He's saying, you're walking that way, and I'm looking at the impact that you're going to have as you go that way. So this to me just brings about a whole different understanding that he's not just looking at our ways to see if he can strike us or to whatever. God's not mad at you. He's madly in love with you. He hates sin. He hates destruction, and he's weighing it. He's calculating. He's pondering, saying, that way you're going, if I weigh the way, if I WEIGH, the WAY that you're going, it doesn't look that good. And it goes on, the iniquities of the wicked ensnare him. He is held fast in the cords of his sin. It doesn't say the iniquities of the wicked, or it doesn't say that the punishment of God ensnares. It doesn't say the retribution of God. It doesn't say that he's held fast by the rebuke of God. No, it's the sin itself is its own worst punishment sometimes. So walking in those paths of wickedness is actually going to punish you. It says he dies for lack of discipline, and because of his great folly, he is led astray. So walking again. So a man's ways are before the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all his paths. He weighs the tracks that he's walking on. And it says all the ways of Yahweh are the ways of man, of Yahweh, eyes are before. Again, it's very hard to read in interlinear, but let's look at this word, the eyes. I'm talking about the eyes of God, but it's just the Hebrew word for eye. Interesting. So it's used, here's some different uses, right? It's used as a physical organ, the actual eye, like I have an eye in my head and you do watching the screen. Eye of man, of beasts, an eye in a wheel in Ezekiel, right? The sleepy eyes affected by sleep, eyes affected by weeping, right? Isn't this crazy? An eye is showing mental qualities or arrogance. So the way an eye looks, it's figurative of mental and spiritual faculties. It can be transferred. And another meaning is just being visible, having an appearance, having a gleam, sparkle of metal. So here we go. This is very interesting. When you get to the Strong's Concordance, this is the Hebrew word for eye. It can mean affliction, outward appearance. It can mean before, or what you think best. It can mean color, conceit, or be content. Pretty in depth, pretty amazing. All the different ways this word is used, and Hebrew is that way. It's pretty strange. I'm going to see if there's a homonym. No, it doesn't look like it. Maybe I would have to look an eye. Yeah. Anyway, so the eyes of the Lord, all of our ways are before the eyes of the Lord, before what he sees, right? And I think that we need to just ponder the things he ponders. I love this. I want to ponder the things God ponders. A man's ways are before the eyes of the Lord. He looks at them. He's looking into them. He's looking into the way we're going, and he ponders all his path. That word ponders is, again, that was a little discovery we had just a second ago. I'll go back to it, is to weigh. So he weighs it out and he wants to look at the impact. That's what this is saying to me today, that he is thinking, what is the impact? I'm going to weigh this, right? To weigh. Also to make level, but in this context, makes sense, the weighing, right? To ponder or to weigh. What is the impact going to be of this path? So maybe today this helps you to slow down, to look at what God's looking at, and to ponder what God's pondering, to weigh what God is weighing. He's looking at our paths. He's looking at the way we are walking. I'm wondering if we are looking intently enough at the way we are walking. So that's just a little proverb study for today. Hope that was helpful to you. If you're watching this, there's a couple live people. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Really appreciate that. Check out some other videos. I'm going to be doing these videos. If they are helpful, I'll use Bible Hub and Bible.com. Those are free resources that you can do yourself. You can poke around. You can look at the original text. You can look at the original Hebrew, what it means, without being a Hebrew speaker or scholar or anything like that. So really great. And I'm going to be doing more of these if they are helpful. So I bless you with that today. Have a wonderful day in the Lord. Subscribe on YouTube now.